Every Salesforce admin knows that sinking feeling. A flow that ran clean yesterday fails today, and you're left digging through elements trying to work out what broke. Winter 27 is going straight after those headaches, and there's one feature buried in this release that I've been waiting on for a very long time. There's also one I'm saving for the very end because Salesforce clearly saved the best for last too. This is a big release across the board, so in this video I'll go through 17 new flow features that I'm super excited about. But before we go any further, I want to say a huge thank you to DX0 for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get into what's new. First up, flow tags. You can now add one or more tags to your flows, either when you save or afterwards in the automation app. Tags sit inside tag categories, so you can keep them organized. The first thing I did was create a category called subflows with tags for the objects and actions that my subflows tend to handle. Anything that makes flows easier to find is a win in my book. Next up, test mode. This is genuinely one of my favorite new features in a long time. Starting in Winter 27, there's a brand new way to test flows in Flow Builder. It replaces the old debug and testing modes, and it lets you run repeatable tests quickly. It builds on the debug's ability to save values between runs, so you're not setting up the same inputs over and over again. To oversimplify, you get debugs and proper tests in a single interface, and you can save them to repeat later. That is powerful stuff. I'd really recommend reading the release notes in full on this one because there's more to it than I can fit here. Over in Marketing Cloud Flow Builder, you can now fire a flow on order return, order shipment, and order status change events, and have them processed in around 3 seconds. That used to take 7 to 10 minutes. This one applies to Marketing Cloud Growth and Advanced Editions. Still in Marketing Cloud, you can now copy an audience flow and choose whether to copy the emails, SMS, WhatsApp, and RCS messages, or just link to the originals. You can copy the segments and list trigger definitions too, so each copy has its own starting point. This is a big deal. Cloning an audience flow used to reference the original assets and could affect live campaigns. Now, you've got full control over how the flow is copied. Back in Core Flow, you can run screen flows on multiple records straight from a list view or a related list. You pass in the record IDs as a text collection called IDs and handle them in bulk. No more processing one record at a time, and no more building unnecessarily complex workarounds. You set it up as a flow quick action on the list view or related list. On that note, when you call a screen flow from a quick action, you can now set the size of the pop-up modal. This was one of my top few features in the whole release, or at least it was, as I've just got word today that it's no longer making the cut. Very unfortunate, but it's so impactful that I thought I'd mention it anyway. It'll fix something that's caused grief for a long time. I'm super sad that it's been delayed, but I'm still thrilled that it's coming, eventually. Here's another one that's caught me out personally over the last few years. Conditional visibility rules on screen flows didn't work when the formula referenced something on the same page. That's now fixed. Reactive formulas that reference components on the current screen now evaluate correctly, and it'll have a genuinely big impact on the way you build screen flows. On the subject of visibility, it's important you know how your org works. And that's where today's sponsor DX0 comes in. Every Salesforce org depends on 1 or 2 people, and let's hope they don't quit, because once the people who built your org move on and the consultants are long gone, what's left is a system that runs your business, but nobody can safely change. DX0 connects to your org in 5 minutes and gives your whole team accurate answers about how it all works in plain language without any setup whatsoever. It's built by Pablo Gonzalez, creator of Happy Soup and the author of Clean Apex Code. It's only a few months old, but it's already unlike anything else in this space. If you're a platform owner or admin working in a complex org, try DX0. Visit salesforcebend.com/DX0 for a free trial. Winter 27 also stops 2 of the most annoying flow failures before they happen. First, Flow Builder will now warn you when a create records element that uses a record variable is missing an assignment for a required field. No more building the whole thing, running it, and watching it fall over on a field you forgot to populate. The one thing still on my wish list is a way to flag which flows use a create element when someone makes a field required, but that's a small ask. Then there's field length. I said missing fields were the worst, and I may have spoken too soon, because a flow that only fails sometimes is worse. That happens when a value occasionally runs too long for the field it's going into. Winter 27 catches those length violations on save as well. It's these smaller quality of life fixes that show how much Salesforce cares about flow, and that's a good sign for where the tool's heading. There's a new run context option too. Pick the user context enforces user permissions option in how to run the flow menu, and your flow only accesses the data the running user can access, and only performs actions that user can perform no matter how it's called. A quieter one that matters for anyone editing flows outside of Flow Builder. End elements are now saved to the flow's XML file. They used to be generated live inside Flow Builder and never actually saved, so external tools couldn't see where a branch ended. Now they can. A few navigation wins next. You can move around the canvas with keyboard shortcuts, jumping element to element across branched paths, and copy-paste with standard shortcuts. Flow version comparison now lets you click through the changes between versions, which adds a whole layer of detail to the results. The change details column has been removed to cut the clutter, so clicking into each line is how you get that detail now. There's a new filter that surfaces unused resources and ones missing descriptions, so cleaning up a flow is far quicker. No more finding a stray variable during a handover and having to admit you forgot it was there. Highlight sections, give them their own labels and descriptions, and collapse or expand them to focus on what matters. This one makes me happy. I can think of so many times it would have helped when I was consulting, and I can see it being a game changer for agents working with flows. Alongside that, Edit History gives you a timeline of every save. You can restore older versions and drill into individual element changes from the new Edit History panel. And the one I saved for the end. Flow Builder has finally been given a fresh coat of paint. We're getting the SLDS2 update in the form of Salesforce Cosmos theme support right across the Flow Builder interface. For anyone who loves what SLDS2 brings, it's a welcome one to close on. That's a serious amount of flow in a single release, and there's still more in the notes that I couldn't fit here. Do you want to try any of it? Make sure you sign up for a pre-release org and take it for a spin. And for more updates like this on the Salesforce ecosystem, subscribe and we'll see you in the next one.